You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 20th, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Michigan City Park Board meeting of Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. If you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Shannon, can you call the roll, please?
Watchford.
Here.
Graves.
Here.
Glidden.
Here.
Mrs. Berling. Here.
All right, the minutes from our December 3rd meeting were prepared in advance and presented. So unless there are any corrections or additions, do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
I would move to accept the minutes from December 6th.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Any project updates tonight?
I have a quick one. One of our staff members, Kayla Shablaski, organized a Letters to Santa campaign for the children in Michigan City this year. Children's letters that are normally every year dropped off in the mailbox in Washington Park. This year were picked up, and we had some volunteer elves at the senior center that personally responded to all the children's letters. So in the program, we responded to 70 letters to children in 49 homes in 2 different states and 6 towns and cities throughout Indiana. So I do want to thank Kayla. She always seeks out opportunities to engage our community. The program brought holiday joy not only to our children, but it really brought a lot of joy to the 21 volunteer elves who participated.
That's so cute.
All right, thank you.
And here's the stationery just to the park board, so apparently you're getting one as well.
Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Old business tonight. So the first we have to accept quotes for the golf course pesticide spraying. So is there anyone in the audience here to submit a quote? Seeing none, we'll close submission and open what we've got. Shannon?
Okay, one quote was received on December 18th at 2:30 p.m. Quote was received from Specialized Services LLC in South Bend, Indiana. And the annual fee for the spray tech services is $40,000. And I would ask the board to hold this over for review until your next meeting in January.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to withhold this while we review it until our next meeting?
I would move that we hold this bid from Specialized Services until our first meeting in January. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next item under old business is revised request for quotes for the Patriot Park concession lease.
Yes, if the board recalls, we already put this out to bid. Quotes were due on December 6th, and we didn't receive any. They went out to 17 different vendors. It was published twice in the Herald Dispatch. It was on our Facebook and our websites, and we got no response. So I revised some of the language in the bid, mainly lowering the base rent, the suggested base rent to $500 and giving an option to also give the park department a percentage of gross monthly sales. So I would ask the board to approve the new bid packet tonight, and I will send these back out tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get a response. The bids would be due January 17th of 24.
Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Questions or comments? My only comment, again, I make it often, is thank you for the red line version. It just makes it very easy to identify where the changes are.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of or do we have a motion to approve the new bid packet for the Patriot Park lease?
I would move that we accept the new rebid of the rebid package.
A second
All in favor, say aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, we'll move on to table business, and we need a motion to untable the Sunset Grill request for tenant credit.
Thank you, Mr. Latchford.
Wait, one moment, please. We
I
need
would
a
move that
motion.
we untable the Sunset Grill request.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries.
All right, Ed,
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Latchford.
you're welcome.
As we know, Sunset Grill proposed the sunshades at North Point Pavilion on June of 2022. The park board approved the installation, and the city engineer did not authorize the installation unless the integrity of the structure was increased. I see that Mr. Wilkins is here tonight. I have a narrative on how this came about and who spoke with who. But I did notice in an email that Diane would like to have some paperwork or some documents before I get into that to see if you're satisfied with those documents. Did you get that email today from Shannon?
Oh, I did not. So did those come through? I'm so sorry on my emails
I
today.
just forwarded Julie's email to you, Ed.
I see. I was off today. What we have is proof of payment from Mr. Patrick Wilkins to the contractor and the fabricator of the poles
Okay.
in canceled check forms and a paid receipt. So if you're fine with that, I'll go on with my recommendation in the story.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So on June 16th, 2021, the park board voted unanimously approving the installation of a sunshade system on the viewing deck and Sunset Grill serving platform at North Point Pavilion. Proposed by Sunset Grill owner Patrick Wilkins, the park board agreed that this project will be a permanent addition to the pavilion and paid for by Patrick Wilkins. The park board approved a tenant credit not to exceed $27,000. During the production and installation, Mr. Wilkins was notified that the structure did not meet the approval of the Michigan City engineer. According to Mr. Wilkins, being proactive, he sat down with the mayor and the city engineer, and he presumed he was receiving permission to proceed with the upgraded and more expensive structural design. The structural system was then upgraded and installed. He is asking that his restaurant be reimbursed by the park department for the additional cost. Patrick Wilkins did not ask the park board to approve a change order to upgrade the structural integrity of the sunshade system. He went directly to the mayor and the city engineer. Several days ago, Mayor Perry stated to me that an informal meeting with Mr. Wilkins, he may very well have indicated that he agrees with the safety of the public and the structure should be upgraded, and he should proceed. It is highly likely that the misinterpretation originates from the fact that Mayor Perry presumes that Mr. Wilkins knows to approach the board for a change order, and Mr. Wilkins presumes he was given full authorization. I recommend tenant credit reimbursement. There was a misinterpretation of our change order procedure. Bear in mind that some change orders occur during projects prior to board approval when it is important to meet a deadline, like the Big Cat exhibit and the Senior Center project that we will be addressing this evening.
Thank you, Ed. I think that from what I understand of the situation, that very clearly spells out what happened. So thank you for taking the time to put that together. Questions or comments from the board?
I got a couple questions. What was the total dollar difference between the original amount that we agreed upon and what it ended up being?
Mrs. Eason, if you don't have those numbers, I'll come up with Julie's numbers from her summary. And that was in the original cost of being,
The original tenant
There you go.
credit in June of 2021 was for $27,000.
and you want to know the original cost.
Or what is the amount of the credit that he would like?
26,000.
It is a 26. So we increased the structure, but the price went down.
I think it doubled.
Yes.
So
Oh, we
In
approved
addition-
27.
in addition to the 27 that's been given,
Okay.
it's looking for additional 26.
Oh, okay. Do we have like invoices and warranty and all of that? Yeah. I'm just interested in that because like what happened with the glass around the building, that we didn't really have like a warranty on that, or it wasn't guaranteed, I think, properly. And so that's one thing I just would like to know. What is the actual
Good evening.
contract?
I'm not
Good evening
sure.
and welcome. And please just say your name and
Yeah,
address.
Patrick Wilkins, Sunset Grill.
Thank you.
Grill. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to come here today and expect. So let me just back up and give you a little history on this real fast, okay? So the intent was to put sunshades up on the second level, the upper level at the Sunset Grill, something that was obviously much needed. It got very hot up there and it made it difficult for people to want to stay up there. So I put it up there, it was an ad. We contracted a company to come in and put it together for us. They bought a package from a company out of Texas, which included the poles, which were 3.5-inch poles, and the cable and the sunshades. All certified to meet the requirements in terms of wind and the strength and that sort of thing. We received those things. We were starting to do the assembly at Sunset. And the city engineer came up and said, I won't accept those poles. You need to have bigger poles. Not a whole lot of detail there, other than he wasn't happy with it, even though they were certified by the company that provided us the poles. Poles were part of a kit. They were part of a production process. They wanted us to go bigger. The city engineer picked 8.5 inches versus 3.5 inches. The poles are very substantial poles, but those aren't off the shelf items. So those had to be custom made for the specifications. That also resulted in a much bigger platform for them to be anchored on, and the platform that goes underneath where they sandwich it together. So that was what created the additional costs. This was a situation where the city was kind of anxious to get these in before the boat race, because, you know, we were holding the hospitalities up there and the opening ceremonies, and we wanted it to be done. So I went to the mayor's office specifically because that's, you know, where the engineer said, you got to get this approved by the mayor. So we did that, sat with the mayor and the engineer says, yeah, if they put the bigger pipes in, I'll approve it. So the mayor said, okay, it's approved, let's move. I moved. So I guess I was a bit remiss in saying, hey, do we need to go back to the board and determine whether or not the board needs to approve this as well? I was under the assumption that because it was the city's building, city's property, city's decision not to accept it, that when they said, oh, the bigger ones will work, we just move forward on it. So the difference in the cost is strictly that. It's the cost, the additional cost of the poles and what was required then to assemble and put the poles together. No additional cost on top of that. As far as the warranty is concerned, there was a 2-year warranty on the original setup, which didn't include the poles. That 2-year warranty now is pretty much extended itself. By the time we open up again, it'll be beyond that. But I can tell you that the cables and the canopies are all in great shape and should last for several more years. The poles, I think if we were to have a hurricane here and the building were to blow away, the poles would still be standing.
That's good to know.
So in terms of warranty on the poles, I don't know what to tell you. There is no real established one, but I could tell you they're a permanent part of the building and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, okay. And again, back to the invoice, you said someone does have the actual invoice of what?
Yeah, the invoice for the poles, which was the additional cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a copy of that
The
with
invoice.
a paid receipt on it.
Yeah,
That's all, you know, everything's been paid for by us. You have given us the full credits on the first 27,000, much appreciated. So now we're just asking for that additional.
okay. And you paid for this 2 years ago?
Yes,
Oh, and
well,
is there,
the summer of 22, right? Yeah, so not quite 2 years ago.
okay.
Yeah.
So has this been ongoing, or is this something you're just asking now to get credit on? Like, did you ask for credit back in 2022?
No, I never really gave it much thought. I thought it would automatically be converted over and it would be approved. So nothing really happened until this summer. So it's been several months now.
Yeah.
When Shannon first advised us, said, hey, there's a discrepancy in what you're saying you owe and what the credits were, and we need to adjust that. So for the last 60 to 90 days, discussions with the park department, discussions with the mayor,
Nice.
trying to get everybody to recall what happened 2 years ago when this decision was made,
Yeah.
and now to this point.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkin.
Any other questions for me?
I think so.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a quick question. I'm just looking, hearing this process and I'm trying to figure out, were you promised at the time that you would be reimbursed for this additional cost? How did this come about?
Okay, again, we're talking a couple years ago, so I can't tell you exactly who said what, other than that when we were told by the engineering group that they would not accept the poles, we went back to the manufacturer, got what we felt was the necessary paperwork to ensure that it met the standards. And the engineer at that point says, no, I won't accept the 3.5 inch pole.
All right, hang on a second. So the first time that it was put up, that was approved and paid for
Correct.
by Park?
Park Board.
But that's-
Okay, all right. So now then the additional, because you have to change the
So
poles.
if I can just jump in a second,
There you
we approved 27,000,
Got
put the sunshades up. Mr. Wilkin went ahead and started that process, and
All right,
his proposed sunshades, the engineer didn't like.
got it.
And that's, you can take over now.
Right. Which I thought would be okay. Anyway, so when we realized that he wasn't gonna accept it, we ended up having a meeting with him and the mayor in the mayor's office upstairs here. And he said, if you go to the 8.5 inch poles, we'll accept that and you can move forward. And I immediately launched to move forward because we had already lost about 2 months at that point, and the boat race was coming up and we wanted to make sure the shades were in place for the boat race. We were literally working on those shades the morning that we were having the opening event there, so it was last minute. Once the mayor said go, I went, and that's where I was probably a little remiss in saying, hey, do we need to come back here and make sure that you guys are in agreement with that? Had we done that, obviously, they would have never been up in time for the race, and that would have been considered a problem. So, yeah, I moved ahead based on the mayor saying, yes, it's okay, go ahead and move forward. And I did not bring it back to you guys.
Excuse me. Did you have to increase the size of the cables also and the thickness of the shades?
No, the shades and the cables are all the same
So it's just the wind shear on a 3.5 inch pole and
versus.
more than double?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know, if you're asking me, and I'm not an engineer, and I don't build poles for a living, but I can tell you that it's a big overkill. It wasn't necessary to go that big.
That's what
but
I was asking.
Again, it's your building. It is a building belongs in the city. That always makes this a little difficult too, because we're trying to do things to make the thing more serviceable and more attractive to get more people up there. And it's been pretty successful. This last summer, we had a pretty good response. A lot of people, a lot of families coming up and enjoying the place. And so I'm proud of what we've done down there. But it's a difficult situation. The building's not exactly ideal for the kind of business we're trying to do. We're doing our best. The city has been exceptionally helpful and working with us on trying to keep the place clean and take care of things. You mentioned the glass situation, you know, things like that. We've come through some painting. We needed some additional painting. But it's always kind of a little bit difficult in that we have our business. It's your building. So when there has to be structural things done, it gets a little iffy as to, hey, who should be responsible for that and how does that work?
So I have one more question. Did anyone ask the mayor about this conversation that they had? Okay, and he did say that was, I'm not doubting you. Please don't take that the
No,
wrong
that's
way.
fine. I
I'm just
understand
asking the
that.
question.
Yeah, I stated that in my narrative that
Oh.
he said he was
I'm
in an
sorry.
informal meeting
Yeah.
and spoke to Mr. Wilkins, agreeing that it was not safe according to the engineer and that he should proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkin. Any other questions or comments?
So what happens at this point when it wasn't gone through protocol?
That's why we're here tonight, since he wasn't given prior approval before he did it. Now he's coming back asking for tenant credit for the additional expense that he incurred. So it's up to, our decision would be, okay, ideally he would have come beforehand, but we understand now, we've been told why it didn't happen. And do we want to provide him credit like we did for the first 27,000 to cover his expense? That's the question. Any other questions or comments from the board or the public?
Any comment from the attorney?
No, it's unfortunate. Yes, it's unfortunate. I appreciate you coming and sharing what you know. No, not at this point. It's up to the board.
Thank you.
I could make a quick comment that there is precedence. During the Lion exhibit, there were times when there was not enough time to wait for a board meeting for a change order to occur. And I personally approved that change order, knowing that the Lions had only so much time to be in seclusion. And in fact, tonight there's a change order, small change order at the senior center that I had to approve so the seniors didn't have to be closed down from their senior center. So it has happened in the past.
Yeah. And I think I've been on the board for 2 years, so I think that it's been a really good relationship. I don't think anything like this has happened, right, between you and the board.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's
And I-
a relationship.
And I know you guys run that very well. People really enjoy it, and it's a
Thank
beautiful, the sunshades are awesome, and you do get more use out of it with those there.
Quite a bit. And I won't take credit for that, by the way. That's Julie Gill. That's our crowds, the people that you work with and
Yeah.
and our chef. But
Yeah,
they
right.
do a great job.
Yeah, no, it's
I appreciate
amazing. So I guess we gotta look at it and say, if it would have gone through the protocol, would we have approved it? And I think that we probably would have. I don't know. I mean, it would take looking at the whole financial relationship, like what are we getting out of it? What are you getting out of
It's
it?
now the property of the city, so whether I'm there or not in the future,
Yeah.
that stays.
Right.
And it's something that's necessary. If you're gonna do stuff on the upper deck of that building,
Mhm.
you have to have that.
Mhm.
People overheat otherwise and they don't come up there. So regardless of what you want to use it for in the future, if you're gonna be using it as a public venue,
Right.
you're gonna want those shades.
So I do have a question though, because when you rent space, sometimes the owner takes on expenses to improve sales revenue. So are you willing to do that with any of this expense, or
Well.
or do you already incur expenses
Yeah,
up there?
in this particular case, I'd love to see the city come forward on this because of the way it all transpired in the first place. But to answer your question more specifically, the bar that is upstairs on that deck, the upstairs kitchen, all the additional coolers and additional equipment to produce the food and all, is all at my expense. The
Okay.
bar that's pretty healthy fixture up there,
Yeah.
we paid 100% for.
Yeah.
The kitchen that we put upstairs so that we could better serve the people upstairs as opposed to having to go up and down. the stairs.
Right.
That was all at our
Okay.
expense.
Mhm.
We often go through when there's a request, we determine if it's a responsibility of the landlord to provide certain, like electricity, the proper electricity, or if it's specific enough to their operation that it's gonna benefit them. And that's how we've gone through the decision-making process before about what should we participate and what should they participate in the expense.
Yeah, good. Well, it sounds like it's been a good relationship.
I think so far it has been a good
Okay.
relationship. yeah.
But I think that is something that, we'll just look at in the future then, as far as just obviously making sure it runs through the board and,
Yeah. Well, the good news is I don't think there's any major things that need to be done. Unless you elect to do something with the stage area downstairs, then we could deal with that. So hopefully now we'll run for a few years without a whole lot of expenses and actually generate some decent income.
Mr. Dabney, do you have a question?
Yeah, in my opinion, just listening to this whole thing, I'd hate to see you get stuck with this because proper protocol wasn't followed and you ended up paying for it. As a city councilman, I would love to see us find a way to be able to, because in my mind, I think, we would have approved in the beginning, even that additional cost. So I would hate to see you get stuck with this, the way it all happened. Because we had city officials that didn't follow the proper protocol. That could have even come before the city council for an appropriation to do anything like that.
Right.
So I hate to see you get stuck with this. If it were my opinion as a councilman here in Michigan City, I would love to see us be able to take care of that for you, because we're going to have people from Michigan City that are going to enjoy that amenity for a long time to come.
I appreciate that.
So
And
that's where I stand. I'm not speaking for anybody else on the board. They're gonna have to, think this over and see what they're gonna do.
I appreciate that. And for what it's worth, and I'm sure you're all aware of it, you won't be writing me a check. You'll merely be extending a credit that will go against, the rent, as we generate more income in the future. So it's not any money out of pocket, at least, in terms of having to bring cash out.
Right. I mean, it is still,
And yeah, it is,
It
but I
is,
mean, it moves
yeah.
forward and it goes against sales. So it's a little easier pill to swallow, but you're right, it's still a pill to swallow.
it's still the same. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Dabney, for your comments. Any other comments or questions?
So the total amount overage is 53?
No, $26,002.
The total project was 53, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Originally approved for 27.
So the rate of return, or not return, but the rate of payment of the rental is, how does that go, by month to month?
He pays 10% of the.
Yeah, percentages every month until then. Shannon could probably answer that better than I can.
Yeah, so based on their average annual lease payments to the park, the $53,000 would represent roughly 3.5 years of their rent of seasons, 3.5 seasons of their lease payments. So in 2022,
Oh,
the lease payments due were just under 19,000. This year, 16,700.
mhm.
So if you average that out, you're looking at 3.5 seasons of not receiving rental income or lease income in lieu of having the permanent structure.
And where are we right now? Are you paid in full up to this point, or have you not paid because we might owe you, or where are we at with that?
Yeah.
So we kind of put the 2023 payments on hold to determine whether this board was going to issue a tenant credit.
Okay.
So yes, there is rent due on 2023.
That was one of my other questions. Okay.
Any other questions? Any questions from the public?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And what's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I've had the opportunity to utilize this great facility on numerous occasions, and I can't even imagine being up there without the shades during the day. Mr. Wilkins has provided out of his pocket, as he mentioned, the bar, the kitchen, and many other things that he has personally, or his company has personally paid for. I'd like to make a motion to recommend the approval of this tenant credit of $26,002.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, we'll move on to new business. And the first one is the correspondence from Mayor-elect Angie Nelson Deutsch. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Angie Nelson Deitch, 126 Lady Lane. Thank you for having me this evening. First, I would like to thank Ed Shin for his term here as our park superintendent. I believe you received my correspondence. I'll read it for the public. And this was dated to the Michigan City Park Board on the 18th. And it's the transition of administration and personnel. Dear Park Board members, this is really weird.
Very sensitive tonight.
I'm pretty loud. Dear Park Board members, I am excited to announce that Shannon Easton will become the new park superintendent effective January 1st, 2024. Her years of experience and dedication to this department and Michigan City is next to none. She was my only choice to take our park system to the next level, and I am happy that she has accepted. We have the same vision and goals to elevate our neighborhood parks and complete our destination playground. She understands the value in building relationships across the region to make things happen. Please join me in congratulating Shannon on her new role. And again, this was on December 18th. And let me say, I've known Shannon since I've been on the council previously. Her 20-something years of time with the park department is just tremendous. Her wealth of knowledge with NERC, seeing the trails that we need to get completed, the grants that we are seeking to get funded, Ready 2.0. We have so many things that are important for the residents of Michigan City, and not just tourists. Tourism is great, and we know that it's a mainstay here in Michigan City. But I also know that this is really a time and an opportunity for us to really, really go after some funds that the state is watching us. Every time I'm in Indianapolis, Michigan City comes up. And so it is my honor that she has accepted the role of park superintendent for this administration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? And again, thank you all for your service up here as the park board members as well.
Thank you. Ed, I'd also like to thank you for your service and dedication to the park department during Mayor Perry's administration.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to make a comment that I respect Mayor-elect's decision, and I really think Shannon Easton is a perfect person for the job.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Any other questions or comments?
We'll miss you and congratulations.
Thank you for all the things you've done, your service. I appreciate it.
All right. Do we need to take any action to affirm or memorialize the appointment? I think we do. All right, so we'll need a motion to accept Shannon Easton as the park superintendent effective January 1st, 2024.
Oh, well, I'd be happy to make that motion that Shannon Easton become park superintendent on January 1 of 2024.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next we have holiday construction change order number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Latchford.
You're welcome.
I was approached by the director of the senior center. The construction was just about complete, and Mrs. Tara Miller, who is the director, asked if she could have a window installed into her office because she was not able to see the seniors through her office. And it's very important that she does keep an eye on her seniors. So I spoke with the construction manager. I went out and visited the site, and I did notice that it would be very difficult for Mrs. Miller to keep an eye on her seniors. So I did approve this change order before it came to the board because there was a timeline. It was timeline insensitive.
Thank you. Ed, questions or comments? Ed, I assume we have room within the budget to cover this.
Correct. I checked with Mrs. Eason first.
Great, thank you. If there are no questions or comments from the board, any questions from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve holiday construction change order number 2?
I would move that we accept the construction change order number 2.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now we've got the Park Department and Zoo Society MOU.
Yes, so this is just a renewal of the MOU. When you originally signed it, it was a 3-year agreement. You are able to terminate that agreement annually or approve it. There are no changes over last year's agreement, so I would recommend that the park board move forward and approve the MOU. The Zoo Society president has already reviewed it and signed it, and he's also submitted their 2022 annual financial reports that were distributed to the park board.
Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Questions or comments from the board?
Appreciate the financials. That was nice.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the Zoo Society MOU?
I would move that we accept the new or the rewritten memorandum of understanding between the park board and the Zoological Society.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now we have the Michigan City Municipal Band 2024 schedule.
Yes, this is just their typical rehearsal schedule on Tuesday nights and concerts on Thursday nights. I will point out that Thursday is July 4th. They did ask if they could maybe possibly host a concert earlier in the afternoon on that day, but Washington Park is it's just too hard to predict what the 4th of July is going to be like. So I asked them not to do that. But to replace that concert, they are willing to host a concert in the bandstand when we do the ribbon cutting for the old preservation project, which will be completed no later than June 30th. So a possible date would be Saturday, July 6th, which would be exactly to the date 133 years,
That's
the
cool.
date that it was initially dedicated. So I appreciate them being willing to come out and play because the bandstand was built for them. So I would recommend approval of their 2024 annual schedule.
Thank you, Shannon. Do we need to add the Saturday date?
It's not confirmed yet. So, I mean, you could do it contingent on that, everything. There's a lot of pieces of that ribbon cutting, so I want to make sure everything works out. But they're willing to play at the ribbon cutting no matter what date it works out to be. So.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
What was that date again?
26.
July 6th. No wonder 5th wasn't working for me. Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the public? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the band schedule for 2024?
I move we accept the municipal band summer calendar as printed with the alternative perhaps of July 6th at the old bandstand.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now we have 4 resolutions. What we typically do, unless there's an objection from the board, I'll read the preamble for the first one, and then the remaining 3 just read the money transfers. All right, seeing no objection, the first one is resolution number 1034, whereas the superintendent of the Department of Parks and Recreation has reported that certain transfer of funds are necessary within the budget of the Michigan City Department of Parks and Recreation because of unanticipated expenses from various accounts, which accounts do not have sufficient funds available for said disbursement and expenses, whereas there are funds available for said expenses in various other accounts which are not expected to be paid from said accounts during the remainder of the budget year, and whereas the Michigan City Parks and Recreation Board has determined that said expenses are necessary and that an account transfer should be made in order to meet said expenses. Now, therefore, be resolved that the following transfer be made from the following named accounts to the following named accounts for the purposes stated therein. So that's a preamble. Decrease fund 2204-505 maintenance fund seasonal wages $6,000 and gasoline $1,200, and increase fund 2204-505 maintenance fund Christmas supplies $4,500, contractual $2,000, and water $700. Unless there are questions or comments, do you have a motion to approve resolution 1034?
I would move we accept resolution 1034.
Second it?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 1035, decrease fund 2211-000, rec non-reverting fund contractual $100, increase fund 2211-000, rec non-reverting charges, fees, credit card $100. Do you have a motion to approve resolution 1035?
Yes, I would move we accept resolution 1035.
Second it?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. President, on resolution 1036, there is a correction to the copy the board got in their packet. So if you read your signature page, the accounts will be correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Resolution number 1036, decrease fund 2507-000, concession fund small tools $1,500, increase fund 2507-000, concession fund delivery fee treehouse $1,500. Unless there are questions or comments, do you have a motion to approve resolution 1036?
Oh, I'm sorry. The money hasn't changed as to where it's going, is that correct?
Yeah, there was it's the detail in the account number. So in our packet, we had for the increase fund 2507-000 in our packet was 454.1.
Okay.
Right. And it was 454.010, and the actual resolution should have been 454.012.
I would, move we accept resolution number 103 with the corrections made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
All right, resolution 1037, decrease fund 2204-504, zoo fund, unemployment 12,000, seasonal wages 3,800, charge fees, credit card 400. And increase fund 2204-504, zoo fund, contractual 12,000, electric 800, and water 300. Unless there are questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve resolution 1037?
Was it contractual 12,400?
12,400. Yeah, so, thank you.
I would move we accept resolution 1037.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Shannon, I see there are no more new business under new business, but I'm curious, were all those, last meeting we sent out RFQs for porta pots and landscaping and
Correct. So those will
pest
be
control?
brought to the board January 3rd with a recommendation to accept quotes and award contracts. We can't do that prior to the 2024 budget being approved.
Yeah, you mentioned that last meeting. Sorry. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any other new business?
No, sir.
Thank you. Report of officers. Mr. Shin,
Thank you, Mr. Latchford.
you're welcome.
I would like to state tonight that I appreciate everybody speaking to me about thanking me for my time here. It's been very interesting, challenging, and I want to say that it is important for me to mention that Mrs. Eason, as she knows already, will be working with, I think, some great people, the directors of each sub-department, and right down to the seasonals and the yearly staff members. They're very dedicated, and I will miss working with them. But I just want you to know you can bet your bottom dollar that they will be working hard, and with Shannon's assistance and supervision, the park department is going to do very well. And it's been fun working with the board too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Laura.
Any vandalism to report?
I do not know of any vandals unless Mr. Volz knows of any. No,
It's good news.
it is.
Liaison reports. I'm the planning commission liaison, and there has not been a meeting since our last meeting. Port Authority liaison is Mr. Freeze.
There was a meeting that lasted 17 minutes and they elected new officers, which are the same officers they had this year.
All right, thank you, Mr. Freeze. And the Zoological Society liaison is Mr. Glidden.
The Zoological Society has not met since our last meeting.
Thank you very much. And we have attorney's report tonight.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Thank you. Any director's reports?
I have a report. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor-elect Angie Nelson Deitch. I really appreciate your confidence in me. I look forward to leading our department and continuing to serve Michigan City. It's been a great passion of mine to work on our neighborhood parks and environmental projects and also historic preservation. So I'm really excited to continue doing this. I'd like to thank Ed Shin for his service as park superintendent. We've had a lot of fun in the last 4 years. Ed is truly one of the kindest and most respectful people I have ever had the pleasure of working with. And I can assure you our entire department wishes you well in your future endeavors. And you know where to find us, so don't be a stranger.
Thank you, Shannon.
And next, to keep our department moving forward in a positive direction with an emphasis on creating more recreational opportunities for the entire city for all ages, I'm pleased to announce that I will be hiring Mr. William Walker as the new assistant park superintendent effective January 2nd, 2024. Mr. Walker is here tonight, and I'd just like to read a little information from his resume. And I met with him. He's a great person. He's a native of Michigan City. He graduated from Michigan City High School, where he excelled in basketball, football, and track. He earned a bachelor's degree in sports management and an associate degree in business management for Bethel College, where he was also a standout and awarded athlete in basketball and track. After college, he played professional basketball for, I believe, around 9 years in Europe. He returned to his hometown in Michigan City, where he's raising his family. He currently gives back to our community through coaching the high school basketball team. He also coaches through a program called Love of the Game in Michigan City. He's a 2022 recipient of the Michigan City Black Expo Rising Star Award. So on behalf of our staff, Will, we welcome your talent, your enthusiasm. You definitely show a desire to give back to and help shape our community in the future. And we welcome you to the team. So if you'd stand up and introduce yourself quickly.
Sure.
We're definitely going to need more pasta at the potluck.
Good evening and welcome.
Hi, I'm William Walker, 219 East 9th Street. I'm really excited for this job. It's something that I can say I've been praying for the last year. I've been ready for a transition and something I can do to really give back to Michigan City and kind of leave my mark here, you know, and park and recreation kind of just fits right into everything else that I've been doing since I've been home for the last 5 years. So I'm super excited to work with Shannon and the whole park department and the city. And I just can't wait to get started.
Fantastic. Thank
8
you.
a.m. in a second.
I'll be there.
Welcome.
Welcome and thank you. All right, Shannon, anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Department Finances, Mr. Glidden.
I have the Michigan City Park Department claims docket for December 20th, 2023. Municipal, $99,897.46. That is the total claims. I move that we meet the claims docket for December 20th.
Second,
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I have the payroll for 11/12/23 through 11/25/23. Pay date 12/1/23. The total payroll, $73,997.67. I would move that we meet the payroll.
second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have the minor transfers from December 20th, 2023. The Recreation Fund decreased the contractual $160, increased telephone $160. The Maintenance Fund decreased gasoline $178, decreased seasonal wages $561, increased household $178, increased vacation buyback $561. The Golf Fund decreased account contractual $900, increased telephone $900. Concessions Fund decreased account contractual NPP $1,000, increased the account contractual $1,000. Zoo Fund decreased account seasonal wages $6,400, decreased account office supplies $1, increased account sick buyback $2,200, increased medical supplies $1, increased regular wages $1,000, and increased overtime $3,000. I would move that we accept these minor transfers.
second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Gifts and donations. I have an unknown zoo donation, Share the Care, $65. And the Michigan City Zoological Society zoo donation membership, $15,913. I would move that we accept these gifts and donations.
second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
I believe down here at the bottom, we have the Board of Works invoices totaling $135,992.43 were paid at the 12/18 Board of Works meeting to the Holiday Construction Group. Improvements to the Senior Center, $135,992.43. And I would move that we approve that invoice.
second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And no credit card charges this meeting?
No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Glidden. Comments from the public? Seeing none, comments from the board?
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, to everybody. And once again, Ed, thank you. Been a pleasure working with you.
Ditto.
Known Ed for a while and just, it was nice working with you. Glad you worked with your dad and that pass it right on down. Also, William, congratulations. I've seen William play in high school. I didn't have the opportunity to travel overseas. I wish I would have, but anyhow, welcome aboard and I look forward to working with you.
I'd like to thank all our employees at the zoo, the senior center, the golf course, the Pat Volts crew in the office, and thank Ed Shin. Thank you very much.
All right, and first I want to thank Ed for his service to the city. So you'll be missed, and and I just want to say you've done a great job, and just wanted to say thanks for your service to the city. Another great year with the park department, and I want to just talk a little bit about Will Walker here. I'm smiling inside and out right now. We brought one of ours home. And if you guys know, like I do, his mom and father, I'm sure they're very proud of this. They're smiling. Damn, I'm almost choked up for you, Will. But this is a good dude, and I am happy to see that he's going to be involved with our park department. So I can't be more happy for him. And, he has connections in the school, and now he's be working with the park department. So there'll be a nice bridge there. To foster that relationship as well with the school system, with the park department. And man, I'm proud of you, dude. So congratulations, man. All right.
I would echo everyone's comments too. Sure, please.
Brian, I thought you were gonna tell us that you played one-on-one with Michael and you beat him. There's no way. He didn't even get to hold the ball.
Way too young. We'll try that.
Sounds like a challenge, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It'd be a good fundraiser.
Be a good fundraiser.
We'd have to pay insurance.
Playing horse.
He said we can play horse.
Yeah.
I can do that. No, he'll talk 5 times and that'd be it. So I'm done.
All right, our next meeting is January 3rd, next year, 2024, right here at 5 o'clock. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay.